Welcome inside the Kelowna Curling Club for coverage of the 2016 Travelers Curling Club Championship. Darren McEwen alongside Tyler Jagger. Thanks very much for joining us. Tyler, we are in for a battle of two provinces that are powerhouses in the curling world, Alberta and Ontario on the women's side.
Yeah, draw one action here, so the teams will be learning the ice, but they certainly have had some practice time on it, and this should be a pretty good battle here.
Representing Alberta, the Calgary Curling Club, it's Skip Morgan Muse, and in the hack ready to throw for her today, Sarah Gardner-Frey. They'll be taking on the Ontario champions out of the Lindsay Curling Club in Lindsay, Ontario, skipped by Julie O'Neill. And Alberta is Sarah Gardner-Frey. Throwing Redstones here at the Travelers Championships. These are 8 end games.
So it's nice to see a center guard going up here in the first end. It looks like both teams will have a go at it here in the beginning of the game.
The Ontario lead, Tracy Hindink. Teams had a chance to practice here earlier today or last night, and we were talking to them before the game, Tyler. They were saying pretty good swing in the ice, pretty quick. Looking for that to hold up most of the week here. You're a member of the Kelowna Curling Club?
Yes, we should see about 5 feet, 5.5 feet of curl here. Teams will have to put some good rotation on, or they could lose a few runs. Right about 14 seconds in the first end here. That should hold up for all 8 ends. Teams will have to be very careful with their hit weight. If they're not throwing the right weight, the rocks will really take off.
Oh, and 3.
Nice little hit and roll there from the lead, Sarah Gardner-Frey of Alberta.
And so we do play the 4-rock free guard zone here.
Good.
You'll also see the
What?
Eye of the Hog
I thought you said 9
rocks
for
are
like,
being in
no.
use here for most of the sheets across the Kelowna Curling Club. They are the ones that you probably noticed from the Scotties and Briar. They are the ones that light up when they cross the hog line. Hopefully green, as you'll see on this one. Nice little hit and roll there from Ontario.
And so there should be good curl right out to the edge of the sheet here. So a rock on the outside here is definitely accessible.
The Alberta second, Sarah Evans, with her first rock of this Travelers Championship.
Yes! Hard! Whoa! Whoa! Yeah! Hard! No roll. Sorry, guys.
Hit and roll. Pops out the other side, but pretty good shot. You called out 10-5, Tyler. What are we talking about when the players call that out as sweepers?
So that's the hit weight, timing the rock between the two hog lines. And so for most of these teams, 10-5, 10 would be a solid hit weight that you'll see a lot here. 9 seconds would be a little bit faster, more of a heavyweight hit. But I think you'll see most of the teams around that 10-5 speed.
Ontario second, Susan Cully, with her first stone of the first end here in Kelowna.
Yep. Sorry, my fault. Good sweeping.
So this is the 8th annual Curling Club Championship, Travelers Curling. And this event is it's meant for club curlers who have won their club and then represented their club at a provincial championship and won the provincial championship to come play at the Travelers National Championship.
Tyler, you were in this event provincially last year in British Columbia. What does the Travelers Championship mean to these players out here?
Well, these are, many of these curlers are competitive curlers in their home club, but they're
We're way
not
back. Well,
at the
we're
level where we see on
way
other
back.
TV games and Olympic games. And it's really important for
It's
them
all right,
because
Sarah.
it gives them something to strive for in their club. And
Got a 4 on that.
all of these curlers are
Yeah.
going to have a banner to hang in their club next year that they won their province, and they're looking for that provincial and national championship here.
Stone there by Sarah Evans, just coming a little too deep through the house. Give Ontario the opportunity to get rid of that guard. They do have hammer in this first end. The hammer was determined by a draw to the button, and it was Ontario almost covering the pin for that. Alberta not far off either. Susan Cully here trying to peel the guard off.
And she'll pretty much accomplish it there. Those peels are a little tricky on this ice because it will curl even with big weight.
Alberta staying on the aggressive here, calling a center guard. Well, just changing it up, a little discussion.
One there.
Yep, putting up a center guard here, so definitely wants to go at it early. And you talked about not seeing these teams, not necessarily familiar with your opposition out here, and that was one thing some of the players were saying too. You don't know who you're coming up against, as opposed to in the tour events, Briar, Scotties, those sort of things. So you were a little bit unknown to your opposition, which can be a blessing. They don't necessarily know what your strengths are and what kind of shots you'll be playing. So Alberta wasting no time trying to generate some points here.
Sit. Great shot, Linz. Nice one, Linz. Good.
Center guard goes up by Lindsay Allen. Lindsay is a business owner in Calgary.
And we'll see a hit on that stone, just biting the top 12. And they'll try and get that roll over. Well, get it about halfway there. Pretty good shot.
We'll keep you updated throughout this draw and all through the week of the other scores and games going on. There's also another feature sheet happening right now. Sheet 5, Nova Scotia and New Brunswick on our other YouTube channel. You can listen to the great sounds of Pat Ryan is actually calling that game over on Sheet 5 for us today. And we have almost every other province and territory in action. That's one of the great things about the Kelowna Curling Club with 12 sheets, lots of action, and you can also go to curling.ca/scoreboard to get the latest on the other games out there.
I know in talking with a few of the teams earlier here this week, or yesterday, it's Kelowna with a 12-sheeter. It's one of the largest curling clubs in the world. Many curlers haven't stepped out on the ice with so many teams out there. It is loud in this curling club, especially when teams are yelling. So a lot of the teams are going to have to adapt with hand signals rather than just relying on yelling at each other.
Lisa Jones with her second shot here of the first end. Yeah, they were also saying a few of the teams too with the putting on that provincial jacket, and the expectations too in that first game can be a little daunting for all of them. I know that the Alberta rink has been here before in 2014 at the Travelers, but for any player out there, the first time you wear a provincial jacket, it's a little bit daunting, or it's a little bit of a different feeling for sure.
I'd love to be able to tell you about that someday.
All right, Morgan.
And so for eligibility for this event, each team can only have one player who has competed in regular provincial playdowns in men's, ladies, seniors, or juniors. So these are your competitive league curlers that
Some hand signals, I guess.
that you could play against these curlers in your club. They have to curl together in a league, in a regular sanctioned league, and they have a lot of fun out here as well.
10-5.
Tyler, you were just talking about the volume out there. I think we heard Alberta say they're going to start using hand signals, so already getting used to that loud factor.
Yeah, the practice sessions they had are not going to get them ready for that.
So a hit and roll there. Morgan Muse on her first one. Doesn't quite roll in. Ontario now has really one useful corner guard. It's a little tight, though.
They're talking about going around it.
Okay, yeah, it's exactly the same.
We're just gonna draw to Tracy's side. If putting it rolling in, we risk the jamming on our
So a draw to the wings here for Julie O'Neill.
Yeah, you can hear the discussion there. They're worried about going around and possibly setting up something for the opposition.
It's going to be a tricky shot sometimes. So you're going inside out, down the middle, and you might think it's the same weight, but get caught a few times, right? In the middle, it can be a little faster, and as it gets out to the side, it slows down a little bit.
Yeah, and this path isn't really one that you're going to do in practice. I didn't see any rocks go out here for either team in the practice session.
Cully and Hiddink really scrubbing to get it in there. They do grab a piece of the 12-foot. Good enough. Force Alberta to make a move on it.
Curl just takes so much of the weight out of it, eh? Yeah.
Similarly, these hits out here, you don't throw a lot out here in practice. You see a lot more down the center of the sheet. So we'll see if they had this spot figured out.
This is Alberta Morgan Muse, her final shot of the first end. Ontario with hammer. Needs a hit, little roll in to put a little more pressure back on Ontario. Muse with the insert and calling the sweepers on it right away. Got to get out there to that yellow stone. Right behind the sheet there. She's got about a half a rock and roll behind even the guard.
Yeah, they might try and get it over there. And that's a great shot.
Morgan Muse with a great final stone in this first end, or fairly open end.
I guess she had that spot figured out.
It's always a nice way to start, right? Little momentum or a little bit of confidence in your step, especially with that last rock.
So Ontario can see almost half of this stone here, and they're going to take a run at it.
Tyler, would you ever come down and just draw? I mean, you could. Looking at that stone out front, it looks a little nervous if you ever chipped it in.
Yeah, she's throwing quite a bit of weight at it. So they called 9.5, which stepping it up a little bit. And it does curl quite a bit, so they don't have to flirt with the guard that much to get this rock out of there.
Julie O'Neill with the final stone of the first end. Ontario looking to blank or get the one. What a sweep.
Oh,
great
scrub.
sweeping by Susan Cully and Tracy Hiddink, trying to get it all the way out. Roll over. Hangs on, but they'll be happy with that.
Yeah, great shot.
Ontario opens up the scoring with a 1-0 lead over Alberta and a great last rock by Julie O'Neill.
So this event is brought to you by Travelers Canada, and Travelers Canada is a leading provider of property casualty insurance for auto, home, and business.
Do you want to go outside or do you want to guard?
This is quite the story of the Ontario team here. We see in the hack right now, lead Tracy, but it's a real family affair out here, and they are quite the story with these women. We have Susan Cully on the right sweeping, and as well as third Lisa Jones. They're actually mother-daughter. And as they come in, as this first stone comes into the house, you will see Julie O'Neill, who is also a daughter to Susan Cully. And the lead, Tracy, is, as they call it, their adopted sister or daughter. It's quite the dynamic on this team, and it's all in the family, really, for the Ontario ladies.
So that's a great experience for that family to come and play in an event like this. And, you know, curling does quite often run in the family, and it certainly does here.
I was asking them before the game, what's it like to curl? Can you separate your teammate-ship from your family? And Susan was saying, you know what, it's great the girls get to yell at their mother out there, and sometimes when it works out. The Alberta lead, Sarah Gardner-Frey, is a federal civil servant in Calgary. Freeze on her opening shot, just a bit of a bump on that Ontario stone to the back of the button. These are time games. The both teams are on the clock for these games, and that can be a little bit different. Tyler, when you're out there, you're not used to. These are all club curlers. They play together, but you're not usually on a time clock. Can that be a factor as you get into the first or get into the late ends of the game?
Yeah, well, for many of these teams, their own provincial didn't have timed clocks, so for some of them, this is the first time they've ever played with time clocks. They are the thinking time. They start with half an hour of time, so once the rock is thrown, the time clock stops. So most teams will have one member that watches the clock, and they'll know how much time they should be spending per end to try and keep the team on pace.
So Alberta, this second end, they're sitting second shot. They do have the hammer, and they're going to make a move on that shot rock behind the button of Ontario's.
Line's good. Close. You got room. Close. Close.
This is the spot in the ice here that will curl a lot at the very end.
Hard. Hurry. Hard. Hard. Head for a piece. Head for a piece.
Allen and Evans trying to get by that. Do they hang on to the shooter?
Anything else?
Well, not a bad shot, keeping the shoot around. Just a little bit light on that attempt there.
It almost looked like it picked.
O'Neill asking Cully here for the hit on the front Alberta stone and the top of the forefoot.
There is a double opportunity there. It's looking pretty close. Oh, jams it in the back, but does sit two. So Ontario up one, sits two here in the second end. And so you can see the time clocks there in the back window on the home ends. Both teams right around the same time here.
I don't think we need to. Just a hit and roll there. Hit.
So Alberta calling for the hit and roll. They're not looking for the double. They don't need to sit two yet. They're going to try and generate some offense with the Ontario Stones in the house.
Line five. Clean. Clean. Whoa. Clean. Whoa. 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 Whoa.
Evans with the big roll, does roll out there. Give Ontario a little bit of a chance to take control back of this end. They're going to hit the back one for Susan Cully's second shot here. Pretty good amount of ice there for that hit.
It will curl all over the sheet here. Sweepers are on this one early.
It's an 8-7.
Okay, sorry.
And maybe a little bit of an oversweep there.
I thought it would have
For curlers who watched curling last season, all of these curlers here are using the new brush heads that are approved by Curl Canada and the World Curling Federation. There was some discussion whether they would do that for these curlers here, but I think it was a good choice to give everyone the same opportunity with the same rooms.
The Alberta rink was very happy with the choice of colors, and it wasn't just strategic to match Alberta or Manitoba's colors. They actually found in the testing they did in Ottawa that yellow mustard color is actually ideal for not picking up extra heat, as you might see in a darker blue or black color. So all sorts of science. This is a game that's stepped up the science for sure.
Yeah, it has certainly changed in the last couple of years here on the theory of sweeping rather than just go out there and sweep hard.
Ontario's Lisa Jones with her first stone of this second end. Nose hit.
Yeah, sorry, your second one I thought
So Alberta are going to continue with trying to generate points with Ontario rocks in the house.
it was good weight though.
This Alberta team doesn't lack aggression by any means. They could opt to come down and try the double or hit and roll, but looks like she's playing the freeze.
The hit was
9.
With no guards in play, she's going to have the forefoot to draw to if things don't work out here. So she's obviously got some confidence in her ability there.
9.
So the 9 here is a little different than the 9 for the hit. This is the old Furby system of weight calling, pretty appropriate for Team Alberta. A 9 would be kind of back 4, back 8 weight. So in the history of this event, on the women's side, Team Ontario has won 3 times, followed by Manitoba with 2, and Alberta and Prince Edward Island have each won the Travelers Club Curling Championship once.
In Ontario on the women's side last year, not this team, surprisingly enough, not this team, because I'll get to that in a second. They made it to the finals last year. They were out of southwestern Ontario, but remarkably enough, the Ontario women last year had a mother with 2 daughters on the team as well, and also had another player that they affectionately referred to as the third daughter or sister on the team. And when I saw that, I was talking to them downstairs. I'm like, "Were you sure you weren't that team last year?" But they absolutely weren't. It's quite the irony of that happening 2 years in a row, especially from the same province.
Hard, you got it. Go.
They dropped the final last year to Prince Edward Island in Ottawa.
Great shot. Nice feed, guys.
Shot there to, looks like there's Shot Rock. Alberta on their first skip, the last Vice Rock there, thrown by Lindsay Allen.
She got Shot Rock out of it, which is teams that competed in last year's national championship are ineligible to come back the following year, but they can come back in subsequent years. So Julie will have to be a little bit careful here in negotiating this rock out of the house.
Make it go away, the goal here?
Yeah, just make a... She only wants to hear one bang when the rock comes down here.
Yep. 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 Yep.
And nicely done.
Shot.
So good execution here this end from Ontario. Has them sitting 4. But Alberta still has 2 left.
Got a little wiggly there.
Morgan will be looking for the skip's deuce here.
Like, I did the rocks 1 to 8. Yeah. But I don't know. Maybe I'm right. I didn't put them. I went by the way they were put.
Just freeze right down to those.
Looking for the freeze down to those 2 stones in the back 12 foot.
Pretty quick pace. It's getting there, yeah. Faster than practice. Slightly, yeah.
I think I was a little tight on my lip though. I think I was tight.
Alberta's Morgan Muse facing 4 on her first with last rock, trying to draw down, freeze,
7.
bring the end back into her control.
Easy for line.
Evans and Frey on the sweep.
I'll go in.
Heard them say it's getting a little faster than practice, as you would imagine in the second end. It should be speeding up a bit.
4.
They'll really try and scrub this down as far as it'll go.
Shot Rock, not quite as far as they wanted it, but making life a little more difficult for Ontario to remove it.
You like that? You like that ice?
So Julie, who's been curling since the age of 6, will try and get this rock out.
Just a little hit. Shoot.
I was asking the Ontario women who they look up to and admire in curling, and they actually said Sasha Carter, who has been here throughout the week and is a member of the Kelowna Curling Club, former world champion, and she's actually married to someone from Lindsay, Ontario, as well. O'Neill on her last. Just looking to make it go away. Hit and roll and avoids the jam at the back and hangs on with the shooter. So a little extra pressure here for Alberta as Morgan Muse will face 5 on her last one with backing. Same path, it looks like, as her first.
Yeah, it's nice to be able to throw the same shot you just threw and made against 5 in the second end of a national championship. Yeah, Sasha helped put the rock right on the button in the opening ceremonies. Her and fellow sweeper Pat Ryan just guided it right in there.
Morgan Muse with the hammer here in the second end, facing 5. Needs full 8 foot to get the single. Heard the sweeper say it feels a bit heavier.
This will need to curl to get to the backing.
Needs to settle down right now.
Hard, Lisa, hard.
Lisa Jones with the sweep. And that is a steal of 1, 2, 3, 4 for Ontario. And Ontario takes a 5-0 lead after the second end here in Kelowna.
One might say I was born to overcome challenges. 2 months premature, in and out of the hospital, and a heart condition. My parents call me their miracle baby. As with all survivors, I searched for my place in this world, and I found it here. This pebbled ice is where I battle now, and at only 12, I am already a 5-year veteran of this sport. I have my sights set on the Olympics. I will push hard to get there. The only size that matters in this sport is the size of your dreams.
Welcome back. Welcome back to Kelowna and the coverage of the 2016 Travelers Canada Curling Club Championships. Just updating on a few other scores out there right now. We have men's and women's teams in action. It's Sheet 1, Prince Edward Island taking on Northern Ontario. Kind of hard to tell those two teams apart. They're both in green and yellow over there. But it is a 2-0 lead for Prince Edward Island. On the men's side, Yukon and British Columbia in the women's events. It looks like right now BC has a 1-0 lead. Alberta is leading Nunavut 1-0 on the men's round sheet 3. And we have Manitoba taking on Saskatchewan in the women's. Looks like 1-0 lead there. Can't quite see which team, but we have a tied score in Sheet 5. Sheet 5 is a men's game that you can watch over on our other YouTube channel, and then that one, it's New Brunswick taking on Nova Scotia, 1-0 after 2 ends, and a 4-0 lead for Quebec over Prince Edward Island in the women's event on Sheet 6. Next door, and thanks to our coverage, you'll be able to see a lot of what's happening next door to our sheet, and that's Quebec leading Manitoba 1-0 as that second end's about to wrap up. Over on Sheet 9, Ontario has a 2-0 lead over the Northwest Territories. And Nova Scotia is up 1-0 on Nunavut in the women's events. And on Sheet 11, that looks to be British Columbia taking on Newfoundland. And it's blank end to start with. Just waiting for the score in the second end to go up. You can always check out all the scores. Curling.ca/scoreboard has all of them. They're updated every end. And finally, on Sheet 12, Northern Ontario leads Newfoundland in the women's event, 1-0 there. And in our feature game here, it is a 5-0 lead for Ontario after a big steal of 4 in the second end. Alberta, though, lots of time to catch up, Tyler. They have the hammer here in the third end.
Yeah, unfortunately, Morgan just got caught there, second rock down that path, and was maybe a little bit quicker than her first one and just went a little bit deep into the back 12, giving up the steal of 4. Came close to the backing, but just got caught by the path there, but she'll try and generate some offense here. She's got the one corner guard up, and they'll try and put another one up now.
Watch the line.
switch. Tyler, explain it to me.
So this is something that has been going on for a while, but the last couple of years has really evolved into that science of curling. And the idea is the sweeper closest to the stone will essentially push the rock in the direction of their stroke away from them. So you want to have if you're trying to make the rock curl, you would have the inside sweeper pushing the rock in that direction. If you want to make it straight, you have the inside sweeper sweeping in that direction.
My team does this switch. It often involves a bump and a bash of the other person's broom and everything else.
Yeah, it can be difficult sometimes. Even last year it was so prevalent, you'd hear a lot of curlers' names being called or positions being called and then the wrong names being called. Everyone's kind of just still learning exactly how this is working out.
And they're really learning their teammates' names. But out here in this game, Susan Cully with a nice peel there on the corner guard, and Alberta's going to try and do it again, put another corner guard up.
So the 2 there is a halfway guard, and Alberta will try and even those corner guards up so that the double peel is not available.
It's over, curling. That's good, guys. That's good.
This Ontario rink was telling me they lost the Ontario Travelers Championship final in a previous season, and that gave them that experience to get to push them over the top in that game. It was actually just a couple weeks ago in Ontario. They're one of the late qualifiers where they have their playdowns in the fall. A lot of these other provinces and territories determined their representative last season, but definitely gets you some good momentum as you head into this. You're kind of still riding that high of the championship, and everything is clicking with you or your team right now.
Yeah, and different provinces have different theories on what works best for that. So BC has their championship last year, and then the team has all the beginning of this year to prepare and get ready for the event. But there's definitely some merit to winning it very close to the event and being on a roll when you get here.
Can be a challenge. A lot of these teams a lot of these players have jobs and careers that can be difficult to get away from, but they make it work. Families back home as well. A lot of families here, actually, in Kelowna. We have a pretty good contingent from most of the provinces and territories, and so a lot of Newfoundland flags. We're going to get the Saskatchewan folks in here later this week, and of course BC with the big home province rally behind them as well. Sarah Evans with a nice come-around guard there, and Alberta looking to capitalize on that hit and stick from Ontario on the peel attempt.
Yeah, and just based on the makeup of Kelowna, you'll see a lot of Saskatchewan fans here. It's a lot of prairie immigrants here in Kelowna.
I don't know if I've ever been anywhere that doesn't have a lot of people.
Yeah,
from Saskatchewan.
absolutely.
Every Scotties, every Briar, no matter where it is, or certainly Grey Cups, even when the Saskatchewan isn't in it, they still manage to get the watermelon helmets there. Jones gets rid of the center guard.
Yeah, trying the run back, but got rid of the center guard. That's the goal there. Opens it up.
Do you use the corner guard now, Tyler, or do you put up another center guard?
It will definitely make its way over to that corner. I like going after it now, and then Ontario needs to decide whether they want to go after the open stone. And this is how you generate your threes if you go this way.
4. Line's nice. 5. All you guys. Line's good.
The swoop is very hard, very aggressive here at the end. Sweepers will have to watch that the rock doesn't just die on them.
Great shot.
Very good judge there from the sweepers.
Lindsay Allen just sinks one around that corner guard and forces Ontario to go for the open one.
So they'll try and roll over closer to that stone to group them together.
Lisa Jones playing the out turn hit and roll. She'll get the nose.
Yeah, lots of good rotation on that stone. Just held it a little straighter. But a very, very solid throw there.
2 draws a day here in Kelowna, though today, the opening day of the Travelers Championship, we just have the single draw. Tomorrow we have draws at 10 a.m. Pacific time as well as 3 p.m. Pacific time. You'll be able to find each draw. We'll have 2 live broadcasts happening on our channels here, and you can follow coverage across the social platforms. We have Instagram coverage at Curling Canada, Twitter at Curling Canada, and Facebook you can find us Curling Canada. We have lots of team challenges in the works right now with social challenges. We're asking them to go out and take the best pictures they can of Kelowna with their team in it, and we're giving away some cool prizes for those teams.
So another unique aspect of the Travelers Curling Club Championship is that teams competing in Kelowna are also participating in a fundraising challenge to benefit youth curling across Canada and throughout the Curling Canada Foundation. The teams that raise the most money will earn a cash grant of $6,000 for improvements to its home club. Additionally, there will be draws of $1,000 prizes for club improvements.
I'm looking at a beautiful photo of Cheryl Bernard. We have lots of wine on display for that silent auction. There's tons of stuff here, some really nice works back here for the silent auction, and it's a great opportunity to give back to curling and also the winning club as well. Last year it was went to the Rankin Inlet Club up in Nunavut. What a shot there by Julie O'Neill. Hit and roll behind the corner guard, and going to make it difficult now for Alberta to get 3 and struggle even to get 2 at this point, but they're going to need a skip's deuce out of this.
Yeah, each team brings prizes for the silent auction here. It's a great event that raises a lot of money, and there's some fantastic items up there.
This Alberta rink has been here before. They were in Halifax in 2014 for the Travelers Curling Club Championship. All 4 of them were there. They say experience is a big factor for them, and that's what they're hoping to bank on. Just the ceremony of it, the wearing your jacket, wearing your colors. This even being live streamed, having fans watching you. They're hoping they can kind of put a lot of that aside when they're at least on the ice and still soak in the moment, but be able to bank on those feelings that they had a couple years ago.
Alberta trying the corner freeze here on the stone. They can still generate their 2, but they really need to get shot stone out of this one.
Just a little short. Morgan Muse on her first.
Weight was okay, just over curled on them a little bit. And Ontario will try and split the house and force Alberta to 1.
No double, so she wants to be behind that yellow stone, if you will. Back 4 foot, back button, that will do it?
Yeah, if she was to leave this somewhere in the top 8, Alberta would have a chance at the double for their 3. So even, normally we would say behind the tee line is not a great shot, but in this case, she's just trying to make sure she sits 2 in an area where Alberta cannot get them both out.
Julie O'Neill with her final stone here in the 3rd end. Up 5 against Alberta, looking to just split the rings.
Into the rings.
Cully and Hiddink on a brush, and out to help right now is Lisa Jones. Got to get the 8 foot that she's calling. And she won't.
So it's only 4th stone, but Alberta is going to have an option here. We talked about leaving the rock high was not a good option, but that's a very long double. I think it will curl enough to get around that corner guard to tap it for maybe 3. They can see about half the stone, maybe a third of the stone.
Talking about hack weight, just enough to have her rock get into the hack.
And that would be enough to move 2 stones and remove the yellow.
from this vantage point, it looks like you can see. I mean, it looks like what, quarter of a rock there, Tyler, from your vantage point.
Yeah, I guess a third was a little optimistic, but right now they're looking at running that red stone back. They maybe know the ice better with that shot, and you're better off to throw the stone where you know the ice rather than where you're guessing. So it's a big shot here for Alberta.
We saw Ontario play this down this spot in the first end with a nice hit and roll. Interesting to see what this rock does, playing the run back, long run back.
Can I have just a hair more, Lynn? Pardon? Okay, let's go, guys.
All right, you got it.
Morgan Muse looking to get back in this one with a opportunity here to score 2 or 3 if she can make the long raise. Sweepers on it all the way.
Oh, very close.
Close. But it will be another steal of 1 for Ontario, and the team out of the Lindsay Curling Club will go up 6-0 after 3 ends.
Sorry, guys. Sorry.
Good shot of all the other games going on here in Kelowna. Beautiful facility. There's viewing both levels. Lots of opportunities for fans that made the trek to Kelowna to watch their teams.
So you're seeing sheets 4 through 12 there in that shot. And Alberta they were able to generate some offense that end. So they'll look to try and do more of the same here. But you're seeing the lead's favorite shot in curling, the throw through. Ontario is saying enough of that. We don't want to have any extra stones in play.
I just don't want to get into any trouble.
Updating you now on the women's draw across the various sheets. We have all tied up, the host province BC and Yukon 1-1 right now. In the Manitoba-Saskatchewan games, similar story, 1-1 is the score there. We're doing a measure on sheet 6. That right now is, looks like Quebec taking on Prince Edward Island, and Quebec is already up 4-0. The other women's game happening out there is Nunavut taking on Nova Scotia. And that one has Nunavut trailing 2-0, playing the third. And finally, Northern Ontario gave up a 3 in the second end, and they trail Newfoundland Labrador 3-1, and they're playing the third as well. Faster game here in our feature game. Last end certainly helped when we had a lot more hits. In this end here, Ontario is looking to keep it open as Alberta's first stone slips into the rings.
So Alberta was hoping that stone would stay out in front of the rings, because then Ontario would not be able to remove the stone because it's in the free guard zone.
Yep.
And now Tracy will try and remove that stone. Leads don't get to throw a lot of hits, so we have fun when we throw them.
Sorry, I caught in the middle.
I still prefer the throw through.
I wasn't sure if we were going to.
And a good stone from Tracy. This Alberta team has been playing together for 5 years. Second time at the national championship.
Line's nice. Line's really nice.
So the 14 teams, 14 men's and 14 ladies teams will be split into 2 7-team pools, and they'll have a round robin in those pools. And after the round robin, the top 3 teams from each pool will make the playoffs.
So there's no room for a bad game for teams out here, really, with that in mind, and It's a condensed round robin compared to what you see at a Scotties or Briar, but similar to what they do at juniors and mixed now, and you pretty much have to be on for all those games to have a shot at least clear going into the playoffs. But we do have tiebreaker situations that can creep in as we get closer to the weekend. Susan Cully been asked a lot of hits this game, and here's another one here for her. Nice peel of the corner guard. She'll roll out, keeping things open for Ontario.
She's had a very good game so far. A lot of rocks in play, but next door between Quebec and Manitoba, you can hear the yelling. It will really echo in these 12-sheet curling club.
Line's nice. 2. Curling a lot.
So still with 5 ends left here, Ontario or Alberta will still try and generate some offense. All of the teams here enjoying some beautiful weather in the sunny Okanagan.
And if you're from Ontario, as I am, anything is nicer than what we have right now.
Yeah, I saw a football game yesterday that did not look too pretty.
We escaped before it got wintry. Another great shot by Susan Cully getting rid of a corner guard. That one is out.
Yeah, we have not seen the white stuff on the ground outside yet here in Kelowna, but I fear it will happen this week. Sweepers watching this one come into the house here.
Sarah Evans' rock slips into the house. Sarah actually gave birth to twins not that long ago, and they're not here this week, but she wanted to give a shout out to, as the whole Alberta team did, to family and friends watching back home in Calgary and across the country.
Tricky little shot here.
That's not what they wanted to do, is it, Tyler?
No, they were hoping to remove the red stone. Just the rock over curled a little bit on them. And Alberta's gonna. They're talking about either splitting the house and going for 2 or throwing up another guard. And I like the call here.
Well, I think that's all we can really ask for with the guards, right?
That's all we could really ask for, yeah. They have their very short guard, but nonetheless it's there, and opportunity to get a 2 if the end plays out well. And
4, 3.
So we haven't seen any stones go over to this side of the house here, so they'll have to negotiate the weight.
Make sure. Go 12. 7. Line's nice.
7 would be T-line.
9.
14-9 was the hog-to-hog split you heard them call out. And that'll be top 4 foot, but does the job.
So great speed on the ice here, even out to the wings. Kelowna had their men's bonspiel here on the weekend before the Travelers, so they were breaking the ice down a little bit for them there, getting the rocks all warmed up.
75th anniversary of this club, if I'm not mistaken, correct, Tyler?
That is correct, yeah. 75th anniversary this year. The club is also holding the BC Mixed Doubles Championships.
was talking to Sasha Carter. She was saying this club has had and I believe is having again this season a mixed doubles league here as well, which is a great opportunity to link up with players if you can't get a full team or just can't commit to the full 2 hours that most curling games take.
It does make it interesting because it's less of a commitment in time, which for a lot of people makes a big difference. And the league is full. They've done well with it here this year.
There's at least one player in the field on the men's side that's competed a few times in mixed doubles, and I think we'll start to see that a lot more often at every level, whether it's Travelers or Scotties or Briar. So Julie O'Neill is facing 2 on her first, and she's looking to make one of them. Does it matter, Tyler?
Well, she'd like to roll in a little bit to get shot stone and make Alberta chaser there a little bit there. She doesn't have to roll far to get shot, but goal number 1 here is make the rock go away.
She has a delivery, and maybe it's the jacket that reminds me, but of Jen Hanna from Ontario. And looking out there right now, she kind of has a resemblance to her, but her delivery looks a lot like Jen's.
Yeah.
It was hit.
And so
It's close.
Yeah, she might have gotten a shot out of that. It looks like she did because Alberta's going to hit. They will have a look.
Looks like they're convinced they do need to hit it.
So we're first skip stone here for Alberta. A nose should. She might need to roll in just a little bit here to make sure she gets second stone. This is a spot in the ice they know.
10. 10. Hard.
Evans and Gardner Frey are on it hard to keep the shooter in the house. Soft weight, it might stick around. Jones encouraged to sweep it out, and that will roll out.
It ended up in maybe an interesting spot.
Yeah, I don't know if they've even looked at it yet.
Yeah.
It could jam. It's pretty close looking at it from the overhead.
She's trying to hit the inside of the stone to roll the shooter on.
Oh, watch the jam there. There's the recognition that this could jam if it's a nose hit.
Just a hit.
Still a good opportunity for Ontario to get out of this end. She's going to hit her stone onto the Alberta rock.
Not a brush yet to it for Ontario. Julie O'Neill, her final stone. She got a piece of it. She got a piece of it. Oof.
Oh, she just clicked it on the way by.
Will that hold on? No, it will not. So Alberta will have the paint for 2 and to get right back in this.
So this is a similar spot where she threw in the second end. She'll be looking for a better result here, but she should know the ice. She should know the weight. And this should be in the hands of the sweepers when she lets it go.
Important for her to make this, not just for the scoreboard, but also they're going into the 4th end break after this, and it's always nice to score before you go into the break, but it's certainly nice to narrow the deficit as well for being down 6 right now. She's going to score something. It's a matter of getting this one in the house for Morgan Muse on her last of the 4th end, the draw 1 of the Travelers Championship.
7.
Sweepers like it right away.
No, I don't think so. Not this time. 7.
Still holding out for 7, which would be T-line, and this one looks good for Alberta.
And
Morgan.
again,
Yep. Sorry,
good
Morgan
sh-
Muse will get on the scoreboard here with a 2-pointer in the fourth end, and morale boost for them heading into the fourth end break. And it's 6-2 Ontario leads as we head to the break here at the 2016 Travelers Curling Club Championship in Kelowna, BC.
Before there was ice, there was our hallway at home. I was always the shy, quiet kid who loved math. But when I saw math come alive in the geometry of the game, I found my passion and my voice. It's a game of precision, a game of inches. It's the equation that now defines who I am.
This ice is everything. It's where I come to feel close to her, to feel whole. This building helped raise me when my mother no longer could. When I step on the ice, she steps with me. My dad is my rock. We're a team now, like the four of us when we step on the ice. People say that this isn't a contact sport, but that's not true. It contacts you where you need it the most.
I know, I was like, nothing. I like you think we can be sharper than their front end is right now. Like they're not crisp, right? Like
This ice is
Columbia. Watching a feature game here between Ontario and Alberta. It has been an Ontario stealing show for the first few ends, but Alberta back on the board after taking 2 in the 4th end, and it's Ontario now with the hammer 6-2. Updating you on some other games out there. We have both men and women draw teams in action. You can also go to curling.ca/scoreboard to get all of the updates on the other scores with live scoring. But starting on sheet 1, it's men's action with Prince Edward Island leading Northern Ontario 5-1. BC, the host province, on the women's side is up 5-3 all over Yukon right now. And Alberta men are up 5-0 at the break against Nunavut. It's locked at 2 right now in the women's draw between Saskatchewan and Manitoba. Neighborly battle there. And it looks like Nova Scotia up 4-2 on New Brunswick. And Quebec and Prince Edward Island just hanging the score there. Can't quite see. Looks like it's 5-1 for Quebec. And next door, and you get a nice shot of our next door sheets thanks to the wide action here on the live feed. You can see it's 4-2 Manitoba men leading Quebec right now on sheet 7. And the Ontario men are also in action. They're leading 4-1 on the territories. And it's a 6-0 lead for Nova Scotia on the women's side over at Nunavut. And BC men are also leading 4-0 over Newfoundland. And Newfoundland women, though, are out early on a lead, 6-1 on top of Northern Ontario at the break. Updating you across the sheets here in Kelowna. 12 sheets, lots to keep track of. As I mentioned, curling.ca has all your scores for you as well. Darren McEwen alongside Tyler Yeager. We are here covering this draw. We also have mentioned New Brunswick and Nova Scotia. That is also a live draw you can watch on YouTube on our other channel right now.
So back to our feature game here with Alberta, Ontario. Really the difference in the game was a missed draw by Alberta in the second. They slipped a little bit deep and gave up a steal, but got 2 back in the 4th before the break here. And they've got 2 center guards up. And they'll try and get some offense back going here. But Ontario has been playing extremely well and hasn't been giving them many opportunities. Started off in the first end with skips trading great shots back and forth when Ontario took 1.
No shortage of rocks in play to start this end, that's for sure. And Alberta will like that as they're looking to steal their way back into this game.
This is one of those ends where I'm sure during the break, Ontario said, with the lead here, we probably want to keep it open, and circumstances dictated they're going to have to go after it here now. And this is probably not how they drew it up, but in a pretty good shape right now.
7! Gotta go, line!
Sarah Evans, her first stone, second from Alberta. Trying to drag that around the center guard, and they will.
You see big swoop here. This rock will come almost out behind the other yellow.
That's a great shot.
Yeah, great shot. Very easy to bury here. If you throw the right weight, you can really get them in.
So Ontario has relied on the hitting prowess of Susan Cully, and she has not disappointed this game. And here's another one that they're going to need from her is get rid of that Alberta center guard.
Yeah, Mom has really been showing them how to get it done here.
She is the mother of Julie and Lisa.
Okay.
First national championship for her. What a special moment this is. First game. Curling pretty well, but she'll get one of those cards.
Well, we saw that great moment at the Scotties last year where you had a lot of the fathers who had played at the Briar. Or I guess maybe it was 2 years ago.
No, it was last year. Yeah.
The fathers of players at the Briar with their daughters there. Curling is really a family sport for many people.
I won a 4.
Yeah, there's not too many other sports you can get to a national championship and play with your children or your parents.
So Alberta's going to throw another center guard here. They're going to try and keep the center clogged up. They've got 1 sitting on the button right now.
3! Line's good! 12. Whoa.
Straight!
never want to hear that.
I don't know what to do. Yeah, finish it over so it's unlocked, I guess. I'm not
Sounds
sure.
like my team out there.
I don't know.
But
15-5.
still a
wait.
pretty good
If
shot.
nothing's finished, maybe she's got a cutter.
Maybe she has a cutter. These teams all had a chance to practice out here. It's
Coming this way.
a bit quick, and it's a lot to take in because they got to practice on each of their sheets. Men playing on the odd number sheets, women on the even, so they rotated through. But a lot of information to track if you are looking at rocks that cut or run a little straighter.
'Cause that's like the second
Yeah, at a
time that's
Briar or a
happened.
Scotties, you'd have a coach or a fifth that would help you track that. But here it's just the team members, and it's a lot of stones to try and remember.
Whoa, whoa, whoa! Back one. Yep,
And for the back one now, caught in between.
yep.
Yeah, a little bit in between there, but still it did the job.
Okay.
Alberta is just going to be building the wall up there, guarding.
This way?
But you can see there's a little bit of hesitation there from
We know
from
this way.
Morgan. Said they know how it goes, Tyler, but the last time they were a little tricked into the over curl, or maybe it was the rock.
Yeah, the teams may find here as the game goes on that the wider they go, the more it will curl. And so the sheet, it might not be a little dish there, but it kind of gets up on a little bit of a hill and comes down.
Yes, for
So
line. Yes, yes.
they'll pick it up as they go along on the week here, but it might fool them here in the first game.
2, 3. Whoa!
This one looked like it's going to be okay, though.
Calling it 2. I think this was, we talked about it about the second end, the volume out there, and you can see a lot of hand signals between.
Just trying to say yes for Lauren to keep it.
Yeah, it's very, at this club here, it's very difficult to have a conversation with your team. You need to get together. You're not going to yell down the sheet and talk to each other.
Yeah, they might be going back with some hand signals by
Like
the
trying
end
to
of
keep
the
it
week.
simple, but
Yep.
yeah.
Yep. 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 Yep.
Lisa Jones trying to get 2 of them. Oh dear, that's not what they wanted.
So
Bad
this is
break.
again where the more rocks in play definitely favors Alberta. Alberta now sits 2, both buried. And they'll try and put up that center guard again. Lindsay made it good with her first one. She'll try and put it right back there again with her second.
3.
Lindsay Allen out of the Calgary Curling Club. She is a business owner in Calgary.
Lots of room.
She has
3.
2 children that, again,
Finish it.
might be
Whoa,
watching,
whoa,
might be in
it's
school,
coming,
though.
it's
Still 3. Still 3.
Yep, yep, yep. Hard. Whoa.
Finishes. I think they figured that spot out now, Tyler.
Yeah, they know where they're going there.
That was such-
That's another great guard.
Ontario, do you try and squeak through that? Yeah. Or do you, your tolerance here is get one of those guards? So you've
Yeah,
got a lot to aim at.
I guess if they miss both, they're going to be happy, but
Nice throw.
the alternative of taking
Yeah.
one of the guards off is pretty good here.
Lisa Jones, and
Yep.
this is
Yep.
trying to find the hole. It's close.
Very close.
Yes.
Oh.
Wow.
Wow, just gets through the hole. Sweepers let up, and I think they weren't sure what they were hearing.
Yeah,
A smile there from Kelly.
well, they'll be happy to get through there and get the one out, but the rock curls so hard here that Alberta could get another one back in there. If they get it in the right spot, Ontario's going to have a hard time scoring, as we see rocks flying in from all over the place.
The Ontario men are making sure the women are on their toes.
Well, it can be, that's another feature of this club. There's not boards between every sheet. And if you're not used to that, if your curling club does have boards between each sheet, it's a little different. You got to be watching where rocks are going at all times.
Tough run on that yellow there. Hey, they can't really, I
So you
thought
can
they
see
got
the amount of
some
ice here that Alberta is taking.
Okay.
She's trying to go around the guard on the left of center, Tyler.
Yeah, she does not want it to go back into the hole between those 2 guards where the last one was. So she's trying to not get the center line.
Okay, guys. It should finish nice and hard here.
So Ontario with hammer here in the 5th end, but facing a bit of difficulty as they have a couple center guards up and an Alberta stone around those guards as well. Alberta definitely looking to steal their way back into this game. First draw of the Travelers Championship.
Line only!
Morgan Muse
Wait only!
get by that guard, but they're
There.
saying wait only right now.
8! Room!
This is going to overcurl a little bit, go back into the hole. They do not want it to go behind the tee line, but it'll slip just back 4.
So if you're Ontario, you're switching your strategy here, eh? You're going for the skip's deuce or the skip's single even.
Well, they could go through the hole again, and that's what they're talking about. They can get out of this end right now with a good draw, but
Okay.
they're going to play the shot they know.
I just heard them say line only. That's
Again, if they open it up, it's a good alternative.
You heard, I think Alberta, this time it was Alberta saying challenges to hear the other end. So certainly something that all the teams will be cognizant of this week is hand signals or different ways of getting your sweeper's attention throughout the process.
They know it.
So we're going to see another shot attempt through the hole to get the stop. I believe it's shot zone in the back 4 there. And the sweepers are on it early.
Ontario champion looking to find the hole. She won't get it. She's got to watch the indirect here. Just misses that too.
So Alberta has a decision to make here with their last stone as well. They can throw another guard, or they could bring it right in and sit third stone. It looks like they're looking at the guard.
Like the same ice for hair.
It's better to hit that one than this one. Yeah.
And that's the decision they made.
Yeah, like just biting the
You certainly, I think, want to make Julie O'Neill draw. When you're up, as she was 6-0, she was playing a lot of hits and didn't have a lot of draw opportunity. So you want to make her draw on her last one, I would say. And the scoring area right now is fairly narrow.
All right, you got it. It should finish nice and hard.
So they'll look for the tight guard here that will take away the hole,
Good to know.
but also make the draw a little bit tougher.
Morgan Muse out of the Calgary Curling Club in Calgary, the Alberta champion.
2!
Is really sensing a momentum shift in this end as they've trailed throughout the whole game, but sits 2 and looks to guard those
2, 3.
2 red rocks in the 4-foot.
Whoa. 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 Whoa.
It's over curling right now, but should do the trick.
Pretty good shot there. Took away the hole, and they'll make
Okay. This here.
Julie O'Neill
Probably here.
draw the 4-foot with backing.
That just walks over, hey? Holy.
So even though that rock is slightly buried, the backing is definitely still there with the right weight. But she'll try and play it without the backing, just a cold draw to the 4-foot.
Definitely the biggest shot of the game so far for Julie O'Neill is this one, as she leads by 4, faces 2, and has had control of the game until this point. She needs a piece of the button, really,
Oh, I missed it.
Lots of room.
to get the single.
Lots of room.
Final stone here. Lots of room, they're calling out.
They'll be okay if the weight is fine.
Wait.
Still wrap in there.
Rock is coming into the house here.
And that will slip a little too far, and it's a steal of 2 for Alberta, and we have a game again. 6-4 Ontario leads as they give up a steal of 2 in the 5th end here at the 2016 Travelers Curling Club Championship in Kelowna.
Hey, really good end, guys.
We'll take you back to the wide shot here. You're looking at sheets 3 through 12.
Some lopsided games out there, but certainly some close ones as well. Kind of to be expected in the first game. Some teams figuring out the ice, getting used to the feel of being in a national championship. For most of these players and teams, this is their first crack at a national championship, and those nerves will calm down, as I think we might be seeing here in our feature game too. It's getting settled in for Alberta as they try and steal back into the game. 6th end just underway here. Always important to score in the 6th end of an 8-end game, as these Travelers games are.
So Alberta had a plan there, put up the 2 center guards in the 5th end after the break, and they executed it very well. And I expect to see more of the same from them. Ontario, I think, ended up with more rocks in play than they were hoping to when they were up 6-2.
Uh-oh. Now I don't know what to do.
But this team from the Lindsay Curling Club has played very well. Still in control of the game.
Top 4. Light. The dry. It was just, yeah, it just rolled off the top. Yeah. Just a bit too heavy.
Ontario lead Tracy Hiddink.
Scoreboard's a little more reasonable.
Puts it in the house.
Yeah.
Good shot there.
Feels good. Ooh, tempting. Yeah.
Alberta had a plan, and they're going to stick to it. They're going to actually guard the Ontario stone in the top 12. Try and make their stones more difficult to remove.
We want to like touch it, right?
You can see the timing in the background there. Both teams still have a good amount of time. This game has been fairly quick. There's been a lot of hits.
They are permitted timeouts too when crunch time occurs.
Slightly narrow.
Sweeper's calling out a 3-4, so it should be in the free guard zone, but up in the call now to a 5. You want this one out front though.
Yeah, it's starting to finish. Nice and tight. Yep, that's good. That's good.
2 nice guards there by Sarah Gardner-Frey.
Good judge, guys.
So we're going to try and go around here again
Tight.
for Tracy.
Okay, room. Lots of room just for weight. Not yet. Not a lot of handle yet. Whoa.
Calling through on this one. Back, Sweeper's back right off at the Traveler sign. It is.
So one of the little quirks about the Kelowna Curling Club, if you ask any of the KG curlers here, they'll say that in the 6th and the 8th end, it's a little bit faster coming back to the house. And the teams will have to adjust to that. Some of them will have picked that up in the practices there, but it gets a little bit quicker coming home.
Certainly if they want any intelligence of this club, there's no shortage of that. There's about 94 volunteers that have given their time up here this week in Kelowna to help out, from driving to hanging standing boards to helping with the silent auction. All sorts of volunteers making this event happen, and lots of members that can help people out with anything they need here in Kelowna, and no shortage of support.
Yeah, any successful curling club is going to rely on volunteers.
And they're just generally nice people. So Susan Cully, who's
Great shot, lady.
made a lot of great hits this game, and she'll be asked again to peel out the top guard here for Ontario. This one's really curling. She might get it the other way. She doesn't want to hit nose.
And makes the peel on the top stone. Good stone. Again, Alberta has a few rocks to work with as they're down 2, playing 6. and they'll continue to throw those guards out there. They did a great job of it last end.
Line's good. Yep, gotta hold it out there. Yes, Sarah. Sarah, just Sarah. Okay, well.
Morgan Muse calling on
Whoa.
Sarah Evans to sweep. This could be a challenge on this team because there's 2 Sarahs at front end, but it's,
Stop. That's okay, Sarah.
sorry, Sarah Gardner-Frey that's called on the sweep. Sarah Evans throwing. Could be a challenge for the commentators as well.
But you can see there just the one sweeper sweeping that stone to try and keep it straight, which they did a good job of doing there. And we're going to see now a hit on the stone in the house from Susan Cully.
Yes!
Tricky little shot here.
Really hard! Yep! Yep!
Their sweepers are really going to have to go to get this by their own stone in the top 12.
Hard!
And it's just what happens there. They wick out their own stone, and Alberta again with 2 center guards and one of counter in the house. And Ontario will be chasing again in the second half of this end.
Just get out. Yeah, just get out there. Should be good.
I was asking the Alberta women who they admire in curling. Lots of curlers coming out of Alberta, but they were also saying this event itself, the Travelers, is just attracting so much attention at the club level. And I believe it was Morgan that was recently at a Grand Slam event in British Columbia, in Calgary, and she was saying how people from the local curling community in Calgary were coming up to her and congratulating her on making it to the Travelers. And she said she was there to watch people that she looked up to, and that's how prestigious this event has become at the club level.
Yeah, it's they put on a very good event here. Curling Canada does, along with Travelers Canada, and this is a prestigious event. It's the world's largest curling event. Every curling club can enter a team. Every league curler can enter. And that's
Great shot there by Lisa Jones to get rid of those rocks and get Ontario out of a bit of a troubling spot here in the 6th end.
And that's one thing that makes curling a little bit unique compared to other sports with an event like this, that at the beginning of the year, every curler has an opportunity to play in this event.
The CEO of Curling Canada here, she was here again today, but she was telling us last night, Kathy Henderson, how she entered recently into a club curling event in the Toronto area, and how those around her can play for this championship, and how cool that is. You don't get that in most other sports that you can advance through when you just take up the game, and you get here and we try and give them the feeling of a national championship, like the Brier and like the Scotties, the scoreboard, the timing, the officiating, the rock handles. And it really is a special event for them. Nice hit and roll there by Alberta.
Yeah, Ontario's done a good job with the double, with the last stone to get a little bit out of this end. Alberta still has the 2 center guards and shot stone.
Scoreboard really dictating this call. If you were down 2, you'd probably be coming around.
Yeah, definitely. Ontario really in eliminate mode, but even if Ontario sits with stone out here, they're going to roll out. But even if they would have sat out there in the 12, I think you'd have seen Alberta go around the guard. But yeah, with the score, Ontario needs to get rid of stones.
Lisa Jones does just that, rolling out. But Alberta still with the 2 center guards, can look to wrap one around there. So many banners in this curling club. I'm amazed, Tyler, of the depth of curling here in Kelowna. We have 1994 World Men's Curling Champions Rick Volk, Pat Ryan on that team. Pat's actually calling the game over Nova Scotia, New Brunswick for us. We have Kelly Scott's banners, and Sasha Carter has been around this week. We had Tyrell Griffith from Team Morris has been here and will be here later in the week as well, helping with a high performance clinic for curlers who are out there that want to take the opportunity. A number of them will be from Kelowna and other places coming in for it to help the curlers out, and it's a really great opportunity to give back to these players, kind of retool some of the things that they need to work on or just want to rub shoulders with the game's best.
And all levels of curling at this club as well. We also had the first stone thrown out by Sonia Goudet, who's an Olympic gold medalist in wheelchair curling.
Flag bearer for Canada in the 2014 Sochi Olympics. Pretty cool. So Morgan Muse, curling is something she doesn't escape. She plays it and she lives it. She actually works for the Southern Alberta Curling Association as a program director. She sinks that one around top 8 foot around the center guards.
Very good stone. Ontario's going to have to decide if they want to try and throw a lightweight hit and tap that out or draw. It looks like they've elected to try and throw the in-turn draw.
I know. So I guess instead of saying you've got the room, that's where I was saying like, darn it. Line, yeah.
She had a very similar shot last end, was just a couple inches heavy, which resulted in the steal of 2 from Alberta. She'll try and stop this one in the forefoot and make Alberta chase her.
Yeah, no. It held its line for that first bit, so I knew it was not
Ontario skip Julie O'Neill with her first rock of this 6N. She has a 6-4 lead over Alberta, but again, facing a counter here. We'll need to draw on this one and perhaps again on her second.
This rock is going to have some curling to do, but there's a lot of late movement if she's got the right weight.
13-4, so a little heavy. That needs to dig in. Muse powers that one right through the house.
So try it again. And not get pulled this time.
I do. Yeah, I really do. As long as we're not behind the button.
So you heard her say that she doesn't want to be behind the button. If she's in front of the tee line, it makes it a much more difficult shot for Ontario to score.
Okay, let's go here, guys.
She can really put the pressure on if she can get this rock
We don't think much different weight.
buried behind her own in the top 12 or top 8 foot.
It kind of looked like it ground to a stop.
It did.
So try and give you close to the same.
Yeah.
I don't
Team
mind
Alberta
being
has
a little
really
bit,
had the
like,
momentum since the
behind this,
fourth
like,
end
back
break.
button.
You don't want to be back button.
A tale of 2 games for sure, as Ontario was up 6-0 after 3 ends. But right now, Alberta, if she can find the paint here, could put the pressure on Ontario facing the tie on
Looks pretty
O'Neill's
good.
last
6!
rock. Morgan Muse, though, needs to bury this one.
Watch the rim.
I think we got it.
Sweepers like the weight.
Hard.
5!
Hard.
6!
As they bring it into the house.
Hard. Finish it.
Go. Great weight.
Pretty good stone there from Alberta. The rock it's very close to fully open, but it's a tricky spot to navigate.
Darn it.
Well, we still have all this way.
You've made Ontario think on this one, and then you can see Julie O'Neill. Do we draw? Do we hit?
Yeah.
She can get shot stone with the hit, but she can't roll very far. She'd almost have to get to nose.
Exactly. No, I should have just stayed out of it.
I wonder, too, if her last shot in this end and her last shot in the last end will be a factor in the decision here, because, like you said, Tyler, the ice might be speeding up a bit. She was heavy on both of those shots, and they have opted for the hit here. Not a lot of wiggle room, but
Well, she hit so well the first few ends,
Gotta get it on the nose.
and she would, if she did throw the draw, she wouldn't be throwing the same turn that she threw.
We were warned about.
And they haven't thrown any draws this end, so She's electing to hit.
Oh, yeah.
Not a lot of ice.
In-turn hit for Ontario's Julie O'Neill, facing the 2 counters for Alberta.
No! No!
He jumped the sweeping early, but it's hanging out there now. And that will be another steal. Alberta has fought their way back into this after being down 6-0 after 3 ends. It is now a 6-5 game for Ontario. Ontario will hold the hammer in the 7th end, but this is really turning into a battle of 2 games now.
It's always nice to score in that 6th end.
You don't kill me with your broom. When you're
Getting late
kicking it.
in the draw here, draw 1 of the 2016 Travelers Curling Club Championship,
Well, no, that's what I'm saying.
and
I'm trying to figure out
we
where to
have
put my
our
gripper
first
so I'm not
final
in the
out
way.
there on
Or getting a
sheet
black eye.
1. It was Prince Edward Island who cleaned up 8-1 over Northern Ontario in the men's side. And it's an 8-5 lead for the host British Columbia over Yukon right now. They're playing the 7th end. And in men's action, Alberta leads Nunavut 5-1. And in the women's game between Saskatchewan and Manitoba, it's a 5-4 lead for... We'll come back to that one because there is a pillar in my way for that one. Nova Scotia, though, on the men's side has a 6-2 lead over New Brunswick. And right now, Quebec is leading Prince Edward Island in the women's action.
Good one, Sarah.
You can see some of the scores next to us, which is nice. It's a 7-2 advantage for Manitoba over Quebec in men's action. A couple blank ends there. And Ontario men have a 6-2 lead over the Territories as they play 7. Nova Scotia also with 6 points. They're leading Nunavut 6-1 in women's play. And in men's action, 4-2 right now.
Thank you so
Looks
much.
like Northern Ontario leading Newfoundland and Labrador. And playing the 6th end right now, Newfoundland and Labrador leads Northern Ontario 6-3 in women's play on sheet 12.
No, so that's BC up on Newfoundland there.
Let's see.
They don't have the normal blue there on the shirts for BC.
You can always check out the scores. We update them as they come in at curling.ca/scoreboard. Thanks to volunteers here in Kelowna. And it is another center guard that goes up for Alberta in our feature game here, playing the 7th end. And Ontario wraps one around, top 12 foot.
So Alberta's going to go back to the same strategy they've used the last 2 ends here, where they've stolen points. They're going to try and get 2 center guards up.
Good afternoon, everyone. The winning 50-50 ticket
Mine's really
number,
good.
if anybody's
We got lots of
interested,
room.
is ticket number 902203.
Lots of room. Yep. Yep. Finish
Check your
it.
ticket,
Far as you can.
902203. The number will be posted on the board next to the hostess table. Good
What?
afternoon.
It wasn't me. I'm still here. So
Yeah, if you had a 50-50 ticket at home, I'm not sure how you got it, but
oh, there's some cheering at the other end down there.
Oh,
Behind sheet 12. So
I see a former committee member from Northern Ontario, Thunder Bay.
Lots of room, just for weight. Lots of room. Time
There's
for
a lot of
room.
joy in that 50-50 winner.
Just for weight. Lots of room. Good. Stay. No, not behind T. Just above T, above.
Ontario's Tracy Hitting, drawing around the 2 center guards, but this will go a little deeper than Ontario was hoping for. But 2 rocks in the house for them nonetheless. Important for them to at least
Kinda like this
score
way.
here or blank
I feel like we know the other way.
and come home with at least an advantage, or whether it's on the scoreboard or whether it's with the hammer.
Alberta's going to throw the wide out turn here to follow that stone down. They would like to keep it in front of the tee line, but freezing to that back stone is still a very good shot.
Close. Where? 7, 8, 9. Close. Just line.
Line only. Line only.
Yep. Yep. Room. Room.
We're way back.
At 13-5.
and it will come out the other side, but pretty good in the spot there for that rock.
You can see the big curl there at the end. Corner frozen to that one at the back four.
Yeah, I think this is cleanup time for Ontario now, and like I said, they want to make sure they have access to that 4 foot in that last shot for Julie O'Neill.
Yeah, just back.
And you won't have that if you get sucked around into those guards.
But
And Susan Cully asked to play another peel.
Yep. Yep. Hard. Yep. Yep.
Very close here.
She might get both of them.
Hard. Yep.
What a shot
Very
from the
nice
Ontario second. Even if it spins in, you've opened up that front, eh, Tyler?
Oh, very good shot. As you were saying, she needs to have that 4 foot at the end there. It did spin into a pretty decent spot, but Alberta would much rather have it out front than in the house. We do have another final as Nova Scotia has defeated Nunavut 10-1 after 6 ends. That game ended in the 6th there when Nova Scotia took 4 points.
Nice to get off early for some of these teams. It's been a long trip. Nova Scotia, I think, came in a few days ago, but some of these teams, Quebec I was speaking to, were just in last night or yesterday afternoon for the men's. And you can imagine for the teams in the East, it's a long commute, a bit of jet lag as well. So nice to reset for a team, particularly if you're on the winning end of it. But we're back here tomorrow at 10 a.m. Pacific, most of the teams in that. Sarah Evans asked to play center guard.
Keep going.
I think this rock to curl over a little bit, but just gets it over the hog line.
Yeah.
The rock has to be completely over that red line, or the rock is not in play. Not sure if the call here was a hit and roll or a draw. Probably the same ice for both.
When you have someone that has hit as well as Cully has this game, this is probably a good call. I can't remember the last draw she had to play.
No,
This
but the
one's tight.
sweepers are really going to have to go on this one.
Caught in the middle. And that is not going to work out. So the chase is on again for Ontario, and Alberta will look to...
Oh, they're going to change it up here a little bit. I thought they might throw another guard.
There you go. You can hear us.
They have the back. Why don't you go up and talk to her? Oh.
As mentioned, this is maybe an opportunity for discussion or timeout, but it looks like they've settled on a guard.
Going in is still a great shot, but they've had very good success with the guards. We're just on the third's first stone, so lots of granite left to come.
Two. Lots of room. Three. No, 2, 3. Where? 3.
Alberta third, Lindsay Allen trying to throw up the center guard. Looks pretty good to me.
Hard. Go. Keep going. Hard.
Even a little stagger there.
Good. That's a good shot.
Ontario.
Ontario going to hit again. If they can hit and roll and get shot stone behind those guards, they'll be in great shape. Good release with lots of rotation there.
Lisa Jones, you got to watch what happens with this one in the house. Just misses the back one.
So Alberta in great shape here again. If they can get another one around here.
Would you ever throw the guard again, Tyler?
You could, but I think if you throw the guard again, Ontario's going to go around. And I think it's better to beat them in right now.
Tolerance, though, would be to be light on this.
Sweepers calling out 5 and 7, so that's decent weight, but they're going to have to go for line here. The rock is really moving.
He's by the guard, and it's a matter of dragging that in.
They'd
Sweeping
love
from
to get second
Alberta's-
stone.
Yes. And they do. What a scrub there in the last few strokes from Alberta to get second shot.
You sounded pretty confident with that one. I was not as confident,
It's not
but
a new head, but my arms are new.
it's close.
That finished nice.
So Lisa Jones going to try and get them out of trouble.
You don't want to hit nose.
Yep, take the yellow, take the yellow, take the yellow!
She gets the roll, but
So,
that
like,
might take away if they ever considered running that yellow top 12 in. That might make things a little more difficult, but
I'm like losing track.
Judging by the call here, I think you might have been right that they're second stone. I think if Alberta was only sitting one, you might have seen them come in and tap this one. But even the way those guards are staggered, the outturn draw is still there for Ontario.
2 is nice. I like 2. Yeah, 2, 3. As long as the line is good, right? Should be good. Yeah.
Where have we gone?
Same seas. Yeah.
Ontario with the hammer in this end, leading by 1.
Yeah, this side seems to still be running pretty good. I'm questioning
They are
that.
kind of grinding though.
Yeah, on that side they are.
No, like Lindsay's kind of ground
Oh,
too.
okay.
both these teams are in action tomorrow morning, and it will be Ontario taking on Nunavut, and Alberta will face New Brunswick in the morning draw here in Kelowna, so no rest for them tomorrow morning. This is certainly a big game. 2 provinces that have done well at Travelers and across most of the championships for Curling Canada. Morgan Muse will try and throw the tight guard here. This needs to walk over a lot more, Tyler.
It's, yeah, they were hoping that would curl more. Their stone is exposed. It does guard the draw, but Ontario's going to have an opportunity here.
So if you get through the hole and you get rid of it, are you going to jam and just leave that back one there?
It would be tough to leave or to get rid of both reds, but if you can leave your shooter right there,
So hit nose?
yeah, if she can get to nose,
The problem is
then you'll have something to work with on your next one.
like if they don't go off, they don't go off.
I can see the whole thing this way.
Now they're looking at the other turn. They have thrown a few stones with the outturn here on the hit. They knew the ice, but there's a lot more room with the intern.
It's good here of Julie to go down to the other end, and if she was going to change the turn, which it looks like she is, to take a look at it, switch the turn, get used to it, make that call. Keep routine, your pre-shot routine, pre-shot slide down the other end.
As stressful as it is, it maybe shouldn't be a joke. We should just give the team 5 points. Try to catch up.
Like right beside it or a little bit more.
Discussing a little bit too what they want to do with it. If they want to try and roll it behind the guard and free up that back red.
Yeah, it was perfect weight. It just didn't curl. And you know what, on Lindsay's, I don't know where my head was.
Lots of pressure to get through the hole here.
I'm not switching. Because I thought you were supposed to be inside the draw. I'm losing my mind. Gone.
A few of these games in the 8th end, including both sheets beside us. We'll keep you updated on those if you're tuned in watching with interest in the Manitoba-Quebec game or the Ontario men versus Northwest Territories. But this here is Julie O'Neill's first rock of the 7th end. She has hammered up 1, looking for a nose hit.
Pretty good shot. She did free up that back stone. Alberta still sits 1 at the back 4. This game was one of the first games to get to the 4th end break, but there's been so many stones in the last 4 ends here, last 3 ends.
Yeah, they really, the pace has slowed down. We do have another final on sheet 3, it looks like. The Nunavut men fell to Alberta. Just waiting for the final score to be hung, but it looks like Alberta picked up a 3 in the last end to win 8-1 there in the men's event.
Looks like Alberta is opting to throw the guard. It's a very tight hole with a draw to get in there.
Just plug that hole here.
Okay. Love it.
Take a little bit less ice.
Oh, she wants you back.
Maybe a change of call here.
Yeah, the guard is never a bad call in this position, but I'm not sure if they don't throw the guard. I'm not sure if Ontario would even do anything with that hole. They may throw the wide out-turn draw.
Oh, I see. Yeah. It's just this is wide open. It's not like it's buried a little bit.
So they thinking of the hit here?
They're looking at it. The danger with throwing the hit is if they flop back into the same spot they were, Ontario would have a double back for 2. But they've elected to throw the guard. Morgan had just thrown this shot. And her last stone undercurled a little bit, so she'll try and get this one closer to the center line.
Another final on sheet 2. It looks like British Columbia has defeated the Yukon. That is a women's game there. So nice win for the host province in their opener. And it's Morgan Muse again. Last rock for her in this 7th end as she looks to guard and hope for another steal.
Whoa. 2, 3. Whoa. 3. Whoa.
Better line on this one.
Whoa. 2.
Sweepers aren't convinced it's going to overcurl, but it looks pretty good.
So the discussion they had down there was whether or not Ontario could tap their stone in the top 12 on the center line back for shot.
Handshakes on sheet 6 as Quebec defeats Prince Edward Island, another women's draw. That one finishes in the 7th end. But in our feature, Julie O'Neill is facing another red rock on her last rock. And this one could be the tying point if she can't find the full 4-foot on her final.
They have seen a few rocks out this far. And the rock will really curl at the end, so there's no doubt that they can get shot stone here.
On our sheet beside us there, you saw it was Manitoba running Quebec out of rocks in the men's event. Manitoba will open their traveler's journey with the win in the men's side. Out this far, Tyler, will it be, at this point, 7th end, slower to start out there, or will it be faster when you're going out to middle of the 12-foot?
It might be even a little bit quicker than they're expecting because the rocks, there hasn't been as many rocks out here. The pebble hasn't been worn down. They might be finding that the center is slowing down a little bit.
Julie O'Neill needs to find the 4-foot to avoid going to the 8th end, which we didn't think we were going that far a couple ends ago.
This rock is really curling, and it's back again. It's a little bit heavier sometimes coming back home or going away from the glass here.
Theft in Kelowna is how you would describe this game. It is now a 6-6 tie as we head to the 8th end.
Before there was ice, there was our hallway at home. I was always the shy, quiet kid who loved math. But when I saw math come alive in the geometry of the game, I found my passion and my voice. It's a game of precision, a game of inches. It's the equation that now defines who I am.
feels quiet. Line's nice, all you guys. Line's good. Make sure it's over. Make sure, guys. Hard, go hard.
Over. Red got one.
Hard.
We like to make it interesting.
Switch them.
Oh,
Lindsay,
line's
finish
great.
it.
Line's great. Great judge, guys.
Good one, Sarah. Nice throw. Nice sweep, guys.
Welcome back to the Okanagan and the Kelowna Curling Club for the 2016 Travelers Curling Club Championship. Another final out there. Nova Scotia defeats New Brunswick in men's play.
Big cheer from the crowd here when Nova Scotia won. They must have a good contingent here with them.
In our feature game, it's a 6-6 tie. Alberta has stormed their way back into this one after being down 6-0 after 3 ends. And the momentum has been 2 different games, that's for sure. But this is all tied up. Saving grace here for Ontario is they do have last rock.
Alberta again with their center guard. They've had a lot of success with this. The Ontario Stone slides to the back 12.
Gonna guess another center guard. Sarah Gardner-Frey has put up a lot of good center guards in the second half of this game to really keep Alberta in it. Tyler, I'm sitting next to a lead. You're sitting next to a lead, and can't tell you how important that position is to set up the game and make a big difference on the scoreboard.
Yeah, lead is a strange position. You don't remember making a lot of shots, but you sure remember every one that you miss.
Lots of room yet.
We had at one point Ontario throwing through their lead rocks, and we're in the 8th end, so.
The game has come a long way since then.
Yep, finish it. Really nice. Nice throw, Sarah.
So again, 2 center guards.
And next to us, a little bit of inspiration for the Ontario women, perhaps, as the Ontario men pick up their first victory. And they will defeat the Northwest Territories 6-3, running them out of stones in the 8th end. Ontario, both men and women qualifying just a couple weeks ago. Pretty strong Ontario team here. We've seen a couple of them actually curled at my club, and they should have a pretty good week in Kelowna.
Here it comes, just for weight.
Ontario coming back into the house.
Yeah, full 4, hard.
Tracy Hiddink with this is a pretty crucial shot. Looks pretty good to me.
Hard.
Presley can take it, and they will pop out the other side, but a piece of the 4-foot.
Still great speed here in the 8th end. So 14.5 seconds hog to hog. And that's what the curlers want. Sometimes when you curl in a curling club, the ice can break down and it gets a little bit heavier in the 8th end.
One thing that we did see both of these teams struggling with early on was the noise volume here at the 12-sheeter, but that has changed drastically now, as they're one of 4 sheets that are still in play. So it should be easier to communicate.
And so this will change the ice a little bit here. We sometimes find it gets a little straighter as the teams come off. It gets a little bit colder out there. There's not as much body heat.
And the nerves can be a factor, too, when you're down to just a couple sheets out there. But that one sinks a little deep for Alberta.
Sits second stone, but they would have certainly liked that up much higher in the house.
Pardon?
Ontario switching gears here in the 8th end as well. They spent the last 4 ends peeling those center guards. Now they're going to try and use them. We'll see if Susan Cully can find the house. She's throwing hits for quite some time.
Lots of room. Tons of room. Here it comes. Yep. Just for weight.
Not much handle, they're saying.
That may help this out here and really curl in around that guard. A great shot.
So she can hit and she can draw. Susan Cully with a pretty clutch shot there.
So now you see Alberta maybe not liking those guards as much as they did a couple of minutes ago, but not much chance to win without them. They're going to try and go around as well.
Thinking time there indicated behind the glass. Both teams, lots of time. It is, as mentioned, thinking time. So should be good. There's still timeouts available to both teams out there. So.
Yeah, neither team's in much danger here, but Alberta will have to watch a little bit.
There's another tie game out there that we're keeping an eye on. It's the host province's British Columbia men, locked at 4 with Newfoundland and Labrador, and as they play the 8th end. We'll keep you posted on the score there.
Lots of discussion here about the speed that's needed out of this shot.
Your tolerance here, Tyler, top 8, top 12, as opposed to back 8?
Much better in front of the tee line. It's a usable stone that can be promoted.
Lots of room. Tight as you can bring it.
These are 2 strong sweepers here for Alberta.
Hard, guys, hard.
Some good sweeping throughout the game from both teams.
Yeah, go 3.
So even this stone well out in front of the house is much better than behind the tee line. Ontario's going to have a decision to make. The normal instinct here is to peel, but
some discussion there about the Eye of the Hog rocks that they're using out there. I guess it sounds like the rock didn't activate. Bit of honor system here as there is across all curling, but I don't think she was at all close to the hog line, and that's more just concerning about the rock not activating and how you activate that rock. You're basically you need to use a bare hand. It notices your skin, tipping the rock up to clean it, and then setting it back down. But there can be some times when it doesn't fully activate, but I don't think she was anywhere close to the hog line, so that will stand just fine. Susan Cully here, her second rock of the 8th end.
Ontario's had a much better end here in the 8th than they have the last few. Their rocks are in very good position.
Tons of room.
This rock is well out there.
Yeah. Want it back? No, I don't think you're going to get it back now. She said, yeah, you got it.
Rock stops out in the
Show it to you. If you want, you can kind of see it.
8 foot.
See, it stops right here. See this strip that's in it? It stops
so
right
if you
there.
slide
So if you wide.
Some discussion there about the Eye of the Hog again. It was, I think she was a little further than the sensor was installed there, so just covering that off.
Why is that one still flashing?
Again, for some of these teams, first time they've used these handles. These are not the normal curling club handles.
But like it's not a
They're the Las Vegas handles. They change colors, light up.
7. Oh yeah.
Line space.
And they tell you when you've crossed the line.
Yeah.
7.
Where?
7, 8.
Line's good. All you
Lindsay
guys.
Allen here,
Line only.
looking to wrap one around.
It's not coming
They're
down.
hoping this rock is going to start to dig and fudge in the 4-foot here, but this one is going to sail a little bit too deep.
Neil ensures that one gets through, but or at least to the back. Keep an eye on that rock there to the left. For both teams, it could be a factor, even though it's maybe 3rd, 4th shot. But like you said, goes back to what you said earlier, Tyler, that any rock above the tee line is going to help you, either team at this point. And that one could be a factor for either team getting to the button eventually.
It looks like they're calling to try and fill that hole. Difficult on a sheet of ice that's curling this much to make a rock stop that far away from the center line. Again, we're in a 6-6 tie. Ontario with hammer.
This is not light.
It looks like they're trying to come off their own. This is going to work out really well for them.
And that takes away that in-off opportunity that Alberta could have had. Maybe Ontario, but certainly Alberta was possibly eyeing it up. And this is trouble now for Alberta if they're hoping to steal.
I think Alberta's going to have to change strategy here and try and promote one of their guards. It's going to take at least 2 stones to get shot.
Brewers, just a reminder, tonight is the cutoff for the hoodies. If you're interested in getting a hoodie with your name on it, come on downstairs. It's got all the competitors for both men's and women's names on the back of the hoodie. They come in black or black. You can have any color you want as long as it's black. You don't even have to be a competitor to get one. You can buy one if you're a fan, a family member.
So we're going to see them try and run this guard back with board weight.
The application forms are downstairs at the information.
Close.
Whoa! Carol. A lot. Go, 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 go.
Pretty good stone.
That's good, Liz.
That loosens things up. It'll give them some options.
And Lindsay Allen's work, at least from the throwing perspective, is over in this game.
Not much chance of an extra end here.
You like that? Martin?
Again, Alberta with 3 minutes of thinking time left, but they have both their timeouts. There's not much of a concern there.
And it's handshakes on sheet 4 as Manitoba runs their neighbors from Saskatchewan out of stones in women's action.
Ontario calling timeout in our game here.
So no coaches at this event, but it's certainly an opportunity to possibly consult the front end or just give that time clock a rest.
So Ontario sitting very good right now. They're going to try and take away, looking at what options Alberta has to score.
Tyler, what's your call here?
I think the best chance Alberta has is the in-turn draw and maybe even wiggle off of the Ontario stone that's at the side of the forefoot. I think that's what Ontario needs to take away, but they're trying to figure out if they should come into the house or throw a longer guard. Either one is good. Whichever one you make is great.
Yeah.
So they're going to try and take away that stone. And it looks like they're going to try and throw a guard about halfway.
Like, I kind of want.
Lisa Jones with her last rock of this 8th end. The Ontario vice champion is looking to throw the guard.
Just top 12!
They talked about top 12 not being bad as long as they can get by that guard.
Lots of room, yeah, yeah! Whoa, 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 no!
They're by the guard.
You don't want to come too deep here.
They want this to stop. I think that'll work for them.
Now, what do you do here for Alberta?
Well, Alberta has the same run back that they just played. And the
Wiggle,
shot,
wiggle?
They'd have to, they've got to hit the stone, run the stone back, and onto the one that was just thrown, and wiggle it in. I don't know if they can get shot off of this. I guess the run back triple is there.
Yeah. Yeah, like we needed to go into this pocket here. We have to roll my way.
We've seen a few Alberta curlers do this in the past.
Yes. And Morgan Muse is hoping to add her name to that list and steal her way to victory in the first draw of the Travelers Championship.
So I like Peel.
Anything else?
They
No, but
They could try and get and throw a back line, follow that one down, and try and leave their stone in a position where it could be promoted. But
to not be scoring.
even if they just peel this one out of there, they will have a shot on their last.
I like an 8-5.
Yeah, I think Ontario, from the beginning of this end, switched their strategy from the last 3 ends, which just hadn't been working out for them, and they were chasing Alberta. And this end, it is Alberta that is chasing.
Yeah, Ontario's had a much better end here.
Morgan Muse gets in the hack to throw her final stone.
No, first
stone of the 8th end.
We have another final. BC takes one in the 8th end to defeat Newfoundland on the men's side. And we are the last game out on the sheet.
I did not see that coming 45 minutes an
No.
hour ago.
8. 8.
Credit to both these teams.
Whoa, good.
This tends to curl a little bit. Close.
A game of inches. And that was not the result Alberta was looking for, because they don't have a whole lot to get in there now. Do they?
If Ontario plugs this hole, I don't really know what Alberta has.
Maybe the outturn draw around, but that is
Really tough.
millimeters of work there.
Maybe the long center guard, depending on
If the hack was over
the
here.
angle that long center guard in. But
Play the edge of the rock. I think this is almost too tight. So I think just
Alberta's going to be left with a tough shot, even if Ontario doesn't throw. So they'll try and fill that port, block the hole. First stone of the last end from Julie O'Neill.
line's more important.
Line is more important on this one. She's got 12 feet to probably work with out in front of the house.
This does need to move a little bit for her.
No,
And here it comes over.
Yep, yep, yep.
And that may have taken everything away.
It would be a good feeling for Julie O'Neill at this point. You've had a couple of challenging last rocks, the last few ends that you're facing, and now you're mentally prepared to throw that last rock, but you also know that you're in a pretty good spot where you might not have to throw it in this eighth end. And Morgan Muse is lining up the slash, we'll call it the upping, into the mess in the 4 foot that is Ontario rocks.
Very difficult to even get shot stone.
I bet you were hitting that red line. Yeah, you're right.
They haven't looked at the long center guard, but it may not be there anyway.
Totally, yeah. Right where we need to hit it, I think.
So they did call their timeout. Alberta did, with 1:09 left of thinking time. So lots of time for her to get to the other end and settle in for this very difficult shot on her last. But
So-
credit to this Alberta rink for fighting back. No matter the result on this one, it is a moral victory for them.
Same week.
Alberta needing to get shot stone in this 6-6 tie. Peel weight.
Yep.
Sweepers will try and hold this out there.
Just a little inside, and that will not do it. And Ontario will take the victory after a lopsided first half of the game, but things really tighten up. And Julie O'Neill does not need to throw her last rock, but a sigh of relief for Ontario. And as I said, a moral victory for Alberta for fighting back and making this a lot closer than it appeared at the beginning. Both these teams in action tomorrow morning. Ontario will take on Nunavut, and Alberta will take on New Brunswick. We'll be back tomorrow, 10 a.m. Pacific. Nova Scotia will take on BC in the women's action. You can also check out over on Sheet 5. Men's action, Newfoundland and Labrador will take on Ontario men. Should be a good game there. Tyler, thanks very much for helping out today, and we'll be back tomorrow for a lot more coverage here from the 2016 Travelers Curling Club Championship.
Yeah, thank you for joining us. We'll see you all week.
Or sorry, it's 3 Ontario.
Yeah.
3 or 4. 3 Ontario.
Yeah, 9-6.
Oh, absolutely. There's 4 of us anyway, so.
Nice work, guys. Ready to go?
Good job. Thanks, Tyler. It was fun. I am going to get some of those
Yeah.
for the rest of the week.
Do you need one now?
No, I'm good. Thanks.
One might say I was born to overcome challenges. 2 months premature, in and out of the hospital, and a heart condition. My parents call me their miracle baby. As with all survivors, I searched for my place in this world, and I found it here.
Good to know.
This pebbled ice is where I battle now, and at only 12, I am already a 5-year veteran of this sport. I have my sights set on the Olympics. I will push hard to get there. The only size that matters in this sport is the size of your dreams.
Yeah. So what the hell is doing the thing to going to the officials room to fix the tape on my broom because my hands are getting sticky. Oh. And I should put a new broom head on while I'm at it.